Are you in a Europa League race?
Oh, it's late.
Not even Champions League, Europa League.
Robbie,
answer that one.
Robbie, I don't know what
When
we're
you gonna
doing.
what date you gonna give us to answer that one? The Europa League race.
Let me get back to
top
you.
six.
I got to check the fixtures. Let me check the fixtures. Because I actually had this one really, crossed out in the calendar. Yeah, I mean, listen. Obviously, they gave us a gift from God in the first 5 minutes. I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking to myself, wow, this kid is rattled. He's shook. He's been booked now. He's given away the ball. He's. If we keep pressing him alone, we'll get joy and we'll get a result out of this game. This is a clear weak point, right? Not to say he won't go on to be a great defender, but he's clearly shit in the bed. But unfortunately, we got our own problems. And that's what I said in the lead up to this game. For as much as Man City's midfield is leggy and tired and can't control games, for as much as they give opportunities in transition, they can't defend as well as they did. We do exactly the same thing. We can't control games. We got leggy in midfield, and we give away opportunities and chances and have individual bozo errors. And that's exactly what happened. We didn't really offer a threat after about 15, 20 minutes. The game just petered out. It was a really bad game in terms of the quality of the game at times. I'm sure the neutrals weren't impressed. And Man City, they just played on percentages. And I've said so many times, Chelsea can't do what they did to us, we can't do. Knock it into channel for Haaland. It's a percentage pass. It's not an incredible, wonderful, ball out wide, but it's just hit into space, and it's now a tussle and a fight. It's old school Premier League. It's early 2000s. This is the Prem, yeah? And Robert Sanchez, I don't know what he's doing. I don't know where he's going. Maybe this is another episode of Dora the Explorer. You know when they get the map? Where do we go next? And then there's just this big long trail. Man's going all over the shop. Out of the goal for no reason, unprovoked, easily lobbed. The manager before this game comes out and he says, Robert Sanchez, he makes mistakes, but so does Caicedo. First of all, what a damn disgrace to put one of the best midfielders this season in the league in the same sentence as Robert Sanchez. You can drag in Madueke if you wish, who makes errors.
I mean, don't drag anyone in.
Yeah, you shouldn't. But if you're going to do it, at least drag in the players that actually aren't playing great. The player that scores a tap in, but then also doesn't track his runner for the first goal. The player that's missing chances hasn't scored in 6-7 games in Jackson. Whatever. But Caicedo? Oh, you're brazen. You are brazen to be doing that. That is wild. So that tells me that your eyes clearly ain't working. You know what I mean? Just like me. Then, so he makes that mistake, but this is like weekly, every game Sanchez gives us this error. And then the third goal, we're getting bullied. Just out-muscled. And Chalobah's distracted by the ball. Colwell's been out-muscled, been led astray. And Chalobah's not following the run. He's following the ball. He's ball watching. And we're 3-1 down. Chelsea, this is what they do. Chelsea, this is what they do. They show earlier in the season that they are capable. If they keep their concentration, if they play to their potential, they can be a very good side. But there was always, in that time period, there was always defensive deficiencies in terms of letting in goals against teams you shouldn't, slack, stupid errors. And there was always a weakness. There was always a fragileness to the team. And they don't have...
You were right all along.
Unfortunately.
That's why you won't win the Premier League.
However,
that's why you're not in the
one last thing I'll say. When the manager says we're ahead of schedule and we don't need to... top four wasn't the aim this season.
No, it's not top four. First of all, he said it weren't the league. Now it's not top four.
He said in his press conference, we're ahead of schedule. We were fourth when he said that. Ahead of schedule. Next season, I was told we need to get top four. Not this season, in my second season. And then the season after that, we challenge. What?
Are you starting to turn on the manager after?
No, I'm not going to turn on the manager because it all comes from upstairs.
Okay.
It's like Liverpool fans turning on Trent. No. Talk about FSG. I'll talk about who actually dictates. Who's the puppet master? Who's the controller? Who's the people setting the standard? Setting up the squad, building the squad, hiring the manager. Who hired him?
Why you didn't buy a goalkeeper?
The same people. I
said. I got my mate Carlton, big up, big Chelsea fan, right? Also a big reggae fan like myself.
Come on,
right? I said to him, I go, is that in reggae, Sanchez, the singer?
Yeah.
Right? I go, yeah, bloop, bloop, bloop. I said to him on Monday, I go, is that Sanchez the reggae singer or is that actually Sanchez the goalkeeper? Right? And then actually, when I saw the game playing, right, and I saw him get lobbed, and the way he ran out, right, I realised it is Sanchez the reggae singer. Because in that tune, Frenzy, when he goes, lift it up, right? That's what he said. That's what he said to Haaland, didn't it? Yeah. You come running out and said, lift it up.
And he did. And he did lift it up.
And he lifted it up.
And he lifted it up all over him.
Man, lift it up.
Yeah.
Bro. Hey, listen, man, you lot threw that game away, man.
We could have at least drawn that 1-1.
And why didn't Jackson, the great Jackson that you told me about, remember when you was
what is that music?
playing the music, right? Right? The great Jackson. He was a striker. He should have banged that. I know.
What, the Palmer pass?
Yeah, a little bit. It's a little bit too much on it, but
I'm not trying to absolve Jackson of any blame because Jackson hasn't been good enough recently. But for Chelsea to be in the situation where Jackson is your only striker, because if this was any other...
Nkunku.
He's not a striker.
And when he comes on, he did nothing.
Exactly. But every time he comes on in this position, he does nothing. He doesn't hold up the ball. He doesn't get himself into the box. He's there picking up the ball off the centre-backs, pissing about in midfield, getting little touches. Poor. He's disillusioned.
Felix.
His head is gone. Manager doesn't trust Felix, which was why we go back to the
Why'd you buy
directors.
him?
Why'd you buy him 6 months before? At the same time as the manager was appointed, why'd you bring in players that the manager doesn't trust at the same time as the new manager? Back to Jackson. Jackson wouldn't be playing if we had another striker. Jackson right now should be on the bench. Jackson right now should be getting 10, 15 minutes off the bench.
Is Jackson...
Liverpool are bringing on Nunes. Not been playing well, not been taking chances. He's coming on just getting winners. He doesn't start. That is the level, right? You've got to be able to at least take someone out of the firing line, especially a young striker if they're not playing well. But we can't do that.
Is he better than Tammy Abraham? Jackson.
As a footballer, technically,
I'd say no.
I'd say
As a goal scorer.
as a goal scorer, you could say Tammy's record goal scorer was good, but Tammy Abraham wasn't good enough either. That's not the level.
Talk about Diego Costa. Scored that chance though.
Yeah, because it's mainly
Palmer.
Cole Palmer's pass is not good enough.
Right.
I don't want to sit here and say that Cole Palmer was poor.
It was
Let's
a
just
poor
get that
pass.
right.
It was a
Cole
poor pass.
Palmer, that was a poor pass. It's a simple pass, and you've not weighted it properly.
Score with your left foot, though, surely.
You'd want that from a top striker. You would want that. But the pass is the main problem. If that pass is perfectly weighted, we don't have to have this conversation. And then Cole Palmer in that game throughout, not good enough.
And then again, like when he came off chatting up with Pep and that, if you're a Chelsea fan, you don't want to see. I'm not saying he can't do that, but maybe do that in the tunnel, innit? It's not what you want to see when you've just lost the game.
I just feel like read the room a little bit.
Yeah.
Read the room. Yeah, like you're gonna have that conversation anyway. Pep is the master of setting up players to do this shit.
Do it in the tunnel.
After every game, Pep always loves to have these little whispers. Now, if he's lost, he ain't doing that. But because he's won, he's happy to go and have them little conversations with you and do all the smiley and the giggly.
In front of
you
the
gotta
cameras.
be smart enough to know, nah, that's a setup. You didn't play me when I was actually at your club. You let me go. So let me go down the tunnel. And if you want to talk, we can talk there. But I'm not going to stand out here and have a little gossip and a little chit chat and smile and whatnot. And it's, again, I'm not really bothered about these things because these things in the grand scheme don't really matter. What matters is the poor recruitment. What matters is the manager's decision making in terms of the goalkeeper and who he's backing publicly. What matters is all of these things that these are important things. These things are branches off a tree. I'm here to talk about the trunk.
Well, someone else has got a few words about this game.
Oh shit.
Dead attack and spent so much money. Joke club. Fans saying they need more depth. £1 billion spent. Oh my. Cry more Matisse.
Cry more Matisse, she says.
How can she send that prior to the Tottenham result because she thought she would beat Leicester, and then when they lose to Leicester, we still play the audio? There's got to be shame. There has to be shame.
None.
No, there has to be shame.
No, but there is none.
We must have shame.
That's
if
the
we have
beauty
nothing
of
else,
it all.
we must have shame.
There is no shame. There is absolutely no shame. Big up to Abby for sending another voice note.
And also,
No, fair
because
enough.
I don't want people to think that I've got favourites. Sancho, left wing. You got Matthias Nunes to cook. And a young kid that's literally shitting himself. You don't do that. Didn't handle your business. Not good enough. Right? So that's another player that's disappointed me in that fixture. I've mentioned the centre-backs already. Colwell, Chalobah. I said when Chalobah came back, he's a good player. Is he a needle mover? Is he world-class? No. Still going to make mistakes. Who else is there? Reece James, poor in the first half. Getting exposed on that right-hand side constantly. Sanchez, we already spoke about him. Just everybody.
What about City? I mean,
Not good.
Good result for them.
Yeah.
2 tough games in the week. That's the other thing with Chelsea. I mean, because City had that tough game during the week, which they lost. I thought it was a real chance for you guys, you know what I mean? But City, back into the top 4 now. And on a charge, got us next.
I still think.
Man said on a charge. I know what you're doing.
No, they're on a, when I say on a charge, not the normal City charges, but they've had a couple of wins, isn't it?
Okay, fair.
And they're back in the top 4.
Oh, yeah, no, that was clever. Nice one, Rob.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
But they got us next. Yeah.
He
They
still
got us
didn't get it.
I still think City fall
Oh,
well short.
Now you're there.
Oh,
now you're
Robbie,
with me.
I'm getting slow.
I thought you.
on the charge.
I thought you did that on
150.
purpose. I was trying to give you credit.
because they don't want to say
He's a poet and he didn't even know
You didn't
it.
even know he's a poet.
See,
That's
it's not
crazy.
one charge. You know what I mean?
115.